Hello and welcome to Havenwoods State Forest, a beautiful park on the north side of Milwaukee. My name is Dan Buckler and I'm a member of the Friends of Havenwoods State Forest. And I'm really excited to give you a short little taste of what this beautiful place has to offer. So why don't you follow me into the park? Now don't let the name State Forest deceive you. As you can see behind me, Havenwoods State Forest actually is composed of many different habitats. So a lot of the interior is actually made up of prairie and wetlands, and we see much of the kind of outside of the park is made up of the actual forests. Now there are of course certain exceptions and certain patches of woods, but that mostly holds true. And we're going to explore some of those different habitats as we move along through the park. Certainly one of the more accessible patches of forest is right behind me. This is called the Maple Woods, and it's dominated by the Norway maples that were planted in the early to 20th century. And there's a lot of growth from basswood, from sugar maple as well, that has come in over time. Under the canopy of these Norway maples is a little sylvan auditorium where plays are performed. Shakespeare in the Park is performed right here, and I will tell you, it is a load of fun.
Hello, little tree.
I'm here in the really delightful South Woods. So just here we have wild geranium and bloodroot and May apples. I know at different times there's spring beauty, there's different trilliums, Solomon seal, false Solomon seal. Now you might see weird pieces of infrastructure scattered around Havenwoods that confuse you a little bit. But that's because this place has undergone tremendous change over the last 100 years. It was, in order, the Milwaukee County House of Corrections. It was a U.S. Army base, U.S. Army prison. It housed prisoners of war during the Second World War. Continued to be an Army base. In the 1950s, we installed missiles here, and then the U.S. Army abandoned it. I'm here on the north central side of Havenwoods, and this inconspicuous field behind me was the site of Nike missiles in the 1950s. They were only installed for a few years before they became obsolete, but the infrastructure was still there for the next few decades. And actually, when Havenwoods was first being formed, they were thinking they might maintain one of the silos as kind of a tourist attraction. But the liability was a bit too much because it was just a deep, often wet place, and so that, along with a lot of the other infrastructure, was destroyed, kind of imploded, and soil and grass kind of went on top, and that's what you have behind me. And good news for all you canine lovers out there. The main trail in Havenwoods State Forest allows us to bring our best friends. Here's one of a few ponds in the interior of the property. These were actually excavated by MMSD and maybe others, I think in the 90s, and kind of transformed this interior land to a series of wetlands in Havenwoods, and the life there has just exploded, and it's a really delightful place. Here's one of the favorite spots in Havenwoods, the bridge over Lincoln Creek. Many people stop here and take photos of themselves, of the birds and the bees, and of course, of Lincoln Creek itself. Just a few days ago, from this exact vantage point, I saw a muskrat swimming through here. And it's not unknown to see salmon swimming up from the Milwaukee River and up Lincoln Creek. This, my friends, is still in the city of Milwaukee. This special place is right in the heart of the most densely populated part of Wisconsin. But this is not just a beautiful place, but it has incredible symbolic value. For after all, this was a prison, this was an army base, and then because of the will of people in the 60s and 70s and 80s, this became a park. That is beating your swords into plowshares.